All right, so we are moving on to a new lesson for today. We're moving on to lesson 10, which involves adding up decimals. This will be session one, which just kind of gives us a review and focuses on some strategies to add up those decimals. But I want to start it with a warm up with some whole numbers first. So right here we have 643 and 1,284, and we're going to be adding those up. Now, I want to try something a little different here because most of you will probably just take these numbers and write them out and line them up and then add them, which of course is the way you've been taught to do it and the way that we've been doing it. But I do want to just show another technique that's going to be really important for adding decimals and making sure you've got everything lined up properly. We don't have decimals here, so I'm still going to use a place value chart just with whole numbers to use for that. So let's see. So let's make a place value chart. Again, we're just focusing on whole numbers. I'll need numbers to at least the thousands place. So let's do this. All right. So here's our ones, our tens, our hundreds, and our thousands. Oops, thousands. All right. I'll just do these numbers in blue so they stand out a little better. So we have 1,284 plus 643. Now, you need to do a place value chart with whole numbers. Not really, because you already probably know to line up your numbers over to the right, to stack them up so they're nice and neat that way. But again, with place value, it's going to be important to make sure they stack up. So let's solve this one. 4 plus 3 is 7. 8 plus 4 is 12. Carry my 1 because I can't fit a 12 in this part right here. That's why we carry the ones over, because there's really only room for one digit in that spot. So the 1 carries over. 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And bring down our 1. So we have 1,927. So again, place value charts are going to come in super handy, at least to sketch them quickly, or again, take lined paper, flip it on its side, and you can use the blue lines to kind of line everything up nice and neat. Okay, so let's move on to the lesson for today. Go ahead and open up to page 189. And again, they like using track stuff on here. That's someone handing off a baton for like a relay race. So, because a lot of the times used for running races is down to like the 10th of a second. Okay, Sabrina and Christy are running in a relay. Sabrina runs 100 meters in 13 and 6/10 seconds. Christy runs the same distance in 12 and 2/10 seconds. What's their total time? So we're going to have to line these up. So for what I'd like you to do is let's start already getting the habit of using a place value chart. So looking at these times, I know looking at the whole numbers, I've got a tens place, a ones place, and since they've got show one digit to the right of the decimal, that means it's got our tens place. So let's look at it like that. Okay. With addition, the order doesn't matter as far as which number you write down first, but for habit, like I always put the largest number first. So 13 and 6/10, and then 12 and 2/10 seconds. Okay. Now I'm going to add those up. Bring down your decimal. Don't forget to do that. 6 plus 2 is 8. 3 plus 2 is 5. 1 plus 1 is 2. So 25 and 8/10 seconds is our answer. That's what their total time was. For those that are curious, in a relay race, that's called a leg of a relay race, or one part of that. So 4 people would run 100 meters. That's one complete distance around a track. Fun fact from former track athlete, Mr. Centerwall. Okay, go ahead and turn the page. Okay. Explain how you can find Sabrina and Christy's total time, and simply use the place value chart. to line up the decimals. You will reach a point where you won't need to use a place value chart, I'm sure, and you'll just know instinctively or automatically to line up the decimal points. And you'll need that when you start doing like science labs and higher level math. They won't really, you'll automatically know to do that from now on. That's the answer for 1. Let's look at number 2. You can add decimals in different ways, just like you can add whole numbers in different ways. Think about the problem 32 and 14 hundredths and 17 and 5 tenths. Write the problem in the place value chart below and find the sum. Again, sum is an addition answer. And if it was subtraction, we call it difference. So again, keep those terms in mind. All right, 32 and 14 tenths. All right, got everything lined up. And then I've got 17 and 5 tenths. Now, here's where kids get confused on what to do. Like, you'll be tempted to shift the 5, 7, and 1 over one spot. I don't know if I can do that with my finger. Yeah, you might be tempted to do that, but don't do that because that changes to 1 and 75 hundredths. So if you end up where you've got your numbers lined up, but this kind of bothers you that there's a space there, just put a 0. And that's what we call a placeholder. And that puts something in the hundred spot, even though it's just a 0. So let's add them up. 4 plus 0 is 4. 5 plus 1 is 6. 7 plus 2 is 9. And 3 plus 1 is 4. So 49.64. And how did the place value chart help you add? Everything was lined up correctly. Again, that's kind of why the last couple of weeks I've had everyone sketching really quick place value charts, because I knew that they would come in handy for stuff like this. Use expanded form to break apart each add-in by place value. We're not really going to do that because, quite honestly, kids, there's no real reason to do that. So I'll go ahead and skip that part. And let's look at 3. How's adding decimals like adding whole numbers? Well, based on the warm-up and what we did with the decimals of place value charts, you use the same strategies. And those strategies, for example, X is, that means example, regrouping. Lining numbers up by place value. So before you were adding decimals, you were always kind of adding up your whole numbers by place value, but you might not have thought about it like that until now. Okay. So again, I skipped doing the problem with doing expanded form because again, I don't think it's going to help you all that much with today's homework. So let's go over what today's homework is. So this week's going to be slightly different. So see, we have H1, add decimal numbers to 70%. Here is the deal. This is Tuesday, so that's that assignment for Tuesday. Go to 70%. Thursday, when we do another adding decimals lesson, I want you to go to 80%. And then Friday, I want you to be at 100%. So you can complete a whole rest of the week's math assignment by getting to 100% for this lesson, but you can space it out over the next few days. But that's going to be the plan. So it's going to be basically this lesson from 70%, and you go to 80%. It should be really quick, and then finish off the week on Friday at 100% to get your total credit for it. So breaks it down, but IXL really didn't have much stuff for this other than that. So let's just focus on that for now. Contact me with any questions.